Hi, this is Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com, DevOps TV here at IBM InterConnect. And we're on the exhibit floor, and we happen to be joined right now by Karen Hunt of
Yep.
the IBM Z System DevOps team.
Yeah, I'm the director of the Enterprise Tools and Compilers team. We do a lot of work across a lot of languages.
Yes, you do. So, you know what, Karen, you're the first person I've met on the compilers team or
Mhm.
leading the compilers team. Share with our audience, what does the compilers team do exactly?
So we obviously create compilers for a variety of languages. We actually do all the enterprise platforms. So we do Power and Z,
Z.
and some work for Linux on Z.
Okay.
That ranges from very established languages, PL1, COBOL, C, Metal C, Assembler, to some newer enabling technologies. Sometimes we're working on stuff around, we work on stuff for enabling blockchain. We're also working on Swift and Node support for Z and Linux on Z.
Absolutely. So that, to me, that was kind of mind blowing. Sitting here talking off camera beforehand, and you said, "Yeah, no, we've got a beta we're
Mhm.
putting out with
Mhm.
Swift on Linux on Z, wasn't
Mhm.
it?"
No, the product for Swift for Linux on Z is announced
Oh,
last
really?
week. Yes, support
So it's not
it.
even a beta; it's
You
a real
can get
product.
service and support on
That's
our
just
SDK.
amazing. And what I find really amazing, Karen, is last year at InterConnect, I
Mhm.
remember sitting in on well, I guess it was a press conference, but it was a presentation anyway, where IBM was kind of working with Apple
Mhm.
and going to a server side Swift
Mhm.
that they would. I think they were giving it to the open source community at
Mhm.
the time, but it wasn't even. And this was just a year ago. It wasn't even officially released. I think they were still talking about it. Maybe it was in beta or something. But
Yeah, so Apple open sourced about a year ago. So
yeah,
and Swift was a big thing in 2014. They announced the open source. We had a big kickoff about a year ago. Then parts of IBM started working on how we're going to make this work well on enterprise servers, and that could mean a lot of different
yep,
things.
the full spectrum.
So parts of the team have been working on that. My team has been focused on some of the language and compiler technology around Linux on Z and Z, working in conjunction with a lot of other parts of IBM. What we're doing is working in open source and contributing the support back to the open source community, as well as we've been looking at not just, okay, got open source, that's great, but there are, some of our customers are wanting more support or maybe stable versions or other things around that. So we're working to learn what we need to do to make customers really able to deploy this in a large way.
Hmm.
We're starting with our first offering for Swift was the toolkit, which has the compilers, libraries, Katura, debugger, package manager, all those things together in toolkit, which we're offering as with IBM service and support.
Got it.
And that's available now for Linux. We're working on a ZOS version, and which will be coming soonish.
Okay.
And we're really interested in getting sponsor users or people to help us work with this. Now, this is really early days
Right.
for a lot of clients figuring out what they're going to do with it. So we're also working with the middleware and trying to figure out what the scenarios are going to be. I also happen to own COBOL and PL1, so we're looking a lot at, okay, what's this going to mean in the context of customers'
Saying
existing
COBOL or
environments?
PL1 environment. Yep.
So it's going to be really interesting as we figure out what's the world where we're delivering on the promise of the enterprise server being able to serve up cognitive analytics, and do all
I
those
mean, this
things,
this is
and
amazing stuff, though.
and evolve their applications, compilers with the tools, with all those things.
So let me just emphasize again, if you could talk to our audience, who are you looking for in terms of volunteer organizations who maybe can help you with this? What?
So we're looking for organizations who are forward thinking, are willing to experiment with a language offering, have some thoughts about what they can do to put this into their environment, what new applications they might want to do, but are really willing to talk to us to give us scenarios and help us develop as we the things we need to do as we go along. So they need to be not saying exactly what have you got, yes or no.
Right.
It's I want to do this. How can you help me make it happen?
Hmm.
and we'll work directly with you.
I mean, I'm just reminded, I don't know, people are going to be viewing this on YouTube and it's not linear, but just prior to speaking with you, we spoke to Rabobank, for
Hmm.
instance, who's talking about having just rolled out some new COBOL programs and Z systems,
Hmm.
with urban code
Hmm.
and all of that kind of stuff. So certainly we are seeing, it's interesting times we live in.
Hmm.
You have financial institutions, healthcare
Hmm.
providers, traditional consumers of mainframe
Hmm.
type of services.
Hmm.
They own Z
Hmm.
systems, who at the same time are very customer focused and customer
Hmm.
facing,
Hmm.
needing applications on phones and on mobile
Hmm.
devices and so forth. And doing it on COBOL is one thing, but bringing that app to the phone,
Hmm.
they maybe use Swift for the
Hmm.
client
Hmm.
side,
Hmm.
and now they could use Swift on the server side, and now they could use a Swift or a Node on their
Hmm.
Z system.
Hmm.
It's got to make life easier.
Well,
It's
yeah, I mean,
got to.
it's about skills, portability skills, and
Yeah,
also it's not just the skills. It's also as you're designing your application, using a language which is available everywhere
right.
may give you some chances to decide where that
No, no,
processing is getting done.
and that's a huge. So, as we the HR department struggles to fill the needs of
Hmm.
our organizations
Hmm.
IT wise,
Hmm.
right? And I saw a recent survey we did with a client at
Hmm.
DevOps.com. What was the average amount of languages you're deploying or you're
Hmm.
using
Hmm.
for deployments
Hmm.
and development in your organization? And when you start getting to 7, 10, 20
Hmm.
different languages, it becomes a sort of a Tower of Babel,
Hmm.
right? Where everyone's talking or writing in a
Yeah.
different language. The complexity,
Hmm.
it just that alone is a
Hmm.
drag on the business.
Hmm.
So when you're talking about taking a Node or a Swift or one of these, I don't want to use the term modern
You
languages,
call it
but
emerging.
emerging languages, and you're able to now take that from the client side to the server to the Z
Yeah.
system. It's got to make your business more efficient. It's
Yeah.
got to speed things up. I I just can't believe it doesn't. I mean, there's
Yeah,
no.
that we're really excited about it, and
Yep.
we're talking to from Rabobank, and we're working with them too. This is
Sure.
all parts of my team, and so
So
we're
is your team worldwide?
yeah, we have people a large team in Canada, where I'm from,
Hmm.
in Toronto, but we also have in the U.S. A team in Shanghai.
Okay.
So we have a couple
And you're
major centers.
engaging clients throughout the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got all over the place. A lot of financial,
Yeah.
and a lot of the financial guys are the ones who are interested in the
Yeah.
new
No,
stuff
they're
as well.
pushing it because, they're under pressure. I was talking to one of the financials we interviewed
Hmm.
yesterday, and we were talking about who his competition is,
Hmm.
and it wasn't Citibank or Swiss Bank or
Hmm.
what have you. It was Apple and Google,
Hmm.
right? They're pushing these guys to up their game.
Hmm.
Lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Yeah.
So they are under the pressure, and the necessity is the mother of
Mention.
invention,
Yeah.
and so we're seeing that. One last question, Karen.
Mm.
What do you think next? What's on the horizon for you guys that we should be looking out for?
Um, well, I think over the next while, we're really going to be focused on the client use cases for
Yep.
the new support, and seeing how, besides just the language use cases, how that's going to fit into their tool chain, how that's going to fit into the development process, and how we can speed up that adoption. So it's not going to be
Fantastic.
just about the language.
Cool. Thank you for joining
Yeah.
us today. Karen Hunt from IBM Z System DevOps team, and she leads the compilers.
Hmm.
Kind of reminds me of I don't know if you saw Hidden Figures,
Yes.
and the lady who was in charge
Yeah.
of the computers.
Yeah. It's
And
kind
they
of
were
like
the
that.
people, not the IBM,
Hmm.
the computers. It wasn't lost on me. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. And this is Alan Schimmel for DevOps TV and DevOps.com at InterConnect 2017. Speak to you soon.